The Master and the Question of Happiness. A young disciple once approached his master with a question that had been troubling him deeply. "Master," he asked, "what do people really need in order to be happy?" The master, with his calm and knowing eyes, did not answer directly. Instead, he gently smiled and asked, "What do you think, my child?" The disciple thought carefully for a moment and replied, "Well, I believe that if someone has their basic needs fulfilled, food to eat, water to drink, a safe place to live, a job that provides stability and security from danger, then that person will surely be happy." The master nodded slightly as though considering the words, but said nothing more. Instead, he placed his hand on the disciple's shoulder and said, "Come, walk with me." The first lesson, the chickens in the cage. Together they walked down a dusty path until they came to a wooden door. The master pointed toward it and said, "Open this." The disciple pushed the door open and was startled by what he saw. Inside was a large chicken coop filled with many birds. The chickens were confined to narrow cages. They were fed regularly, had water to drink, and were protected from predators. Their basic needs were met. The master asked, "Tell me, do these chickens have food?" "Yes, master," the disciple replied. "Do they have a place to live?" "Yes, they do," he answered again. "Are they safe from cats, dogs, or hawks?" "Yes, they are safe," said the disciple. The master leaned closer. "Do they lay eggs?" "Yes, master, they do." "Then tell me, my child," the master asked softly, "do you think they are happy?" The disciple paused. He looked closely at the chickens. They seemed restless, pacing within their cages, their wings clipped, their movements restricted. They had everything he had described earlier, food, shelter, and safety. Yet he could not bring himself to say that they looked happy. He hesitated, unsure how to respond. The second lesson, the chickens in the field. The master did not press him. Instead, he said, "Come, let us walk further." After some time, they reached a wide open field. Here, chickens roamed freely. They scratched the earth for food, chased each other playfully, spread their wings, and basked under the sun. Some searched for worms, others perched on stones, and a few rested in the shade. The master smiled. "And what about these chickens? Do they appear happy to you?" The disciple looked around. He saw energy, vitality, and a sense of freedom in the movements of these birds. They were not caged, nor were they given everything ready-made. They had to search for food, protect themselves from predators, and endure the weather. Yet their eyes and movements reflected something different, a kind of natural joy. So the disciple answered, though still uncertain, "Yes, perhaps these chickens are happier." The master turned to him and said firmly, "Of course they are." The master's wisdom, he then continued, "Look carefully, my child. The chickens in the cage have all the things you thought were necessary for happiness: food, water, shelter, and safety. Yet they are not happy because they live without freedom. They survive, but they do not live." The disciple listened silently. "And then," the master went on, pointing toward the open field, "the chickens here have none of the guarantees of safety or comfort. They must search for food. They must guard against predators. They face the uncertainty of nature every single day. And yet, despite all this, they are happy because they live freely, on their own terms." The master's voice grew more serious. "You asked me what people need to be happy. The answer is this: happiness is not born from security alone. It is not enough to simply breathe, eat, and sleep. To truly be happy, one must have the courage to live freely, to take risks, to face challenges, to explore the unknown, and to embrace life fully, even with all its uncertainties." The deeper meaning, the disciple lowered his head, reflecting on the lesson. The master explained further. "In life, every person faces a choice. You can live like the chickens in the cage, where comfort and safety are guaranteed, but freedom is lost. Or you can live like the chickens in the open fields, where risk is present, but so is joy, authenticity, and growth," the disciple whispered. "So true happiness requires freedom." The master nodded. "Yes, true happiness requires freedom, not the absence of all struggle, but the freedom to choose, to act, and to live as your authentic self. The caged chickens exist, but they do not live. The free chickens may face danger, but they truly experience life. The final reflection, the story of the master and the disciple, holds a mirror to our own lives. Many of us believe that happiness comes from stability, from securing a job, owning a home, or having enough money in the bank. And yes, these things may bring comfort. But if life is only about safety and routine, we may find ourselves like the chickens in the cage, existing but not truly alive. On the other hand, when we step out of our comfort zone, when we take risks, pursue our passions, face challenges, and embrace uncertainty, Kwame, we may feel vulnerable. Yet, in that very vulnerability lies the essence of happiness. Happiness is not the absence of difficulty. Happiness is the courage to live freely despite difficulty. So ask yourself, are you living like the caged chickens, satisfied with survival but longing for freedom? Or are you living like the free chickens, embracing risk, growth, and the joy of truly being alive? Closing note, true happiness is not about survival. It is about freedom, not about safety, but about courage. Not about comfort, but about authenticity. The Master's words remind us, life is not meant to be lived inside a cage. It is meant to be explored openly, freely, and bravely. So, the choice is always yours. Will you merely exist, or will you truly live? If this story made you reflect, don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more philosophical journeys like this one.